Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to you. My name is Nick. I pointed to myself in case you didn't see me in this shot, because there's quite a lot going on. And it's time for the 2-week roundup, where traditionally we look at the best games and try and put them in an order of a top 6. Now there's a bit of light coming through the window there, so that might go across me. So that just proves it's still amateur hour. But what can I do about that? I haven't got a big row of conifers I can plant in the room, but yes, anyway, I'm waffling on again. Before we come to the top 6, hope your week's going well by the way, we'll have a look at the pinball tables, or a summary of them, because we covered quite a few this time round. And first one we looked at was on Zen Studios, the Pinball FX3 with Star Wars The Battle of MIMBAN. Set during the film Star Wars Solo, which they're based off, and this is part of the Star Wars pack, which gave you Solo of course, and the Lando Calrissian Chronicles. It's not a bad pack. I didn't mind this table. It's a bit dark and moody, but compared to the other tables we reviewed, the new real-life tables from the Williams pack from Zen, this table has been put clearly in the shade despite the Star Wars license. So let's have a look at them. Now the first one is a free table, so if you download Pinball FX3 on the PC, Xbox One or PlayStation 4, you can be playing this one for free to see if you want to buy the actual full pack. Fishtails. All of these come out in 2018, based on the real life table of course. It's a fishing theme, I'm sure you guessed that by the actual name of the damn thing, but lots of good options here. The real life table is really well recreated. You can have it with additional fantasy gloss over the top, like a fisherman with his fishing rod there pulling fish, which always seems to make sense, or you can turn those off completely. There's 3 different modes. You've got your standard mode, arcade mode, and then tournament mode if you want an extra super challenge. Now the ball physics on this are really good. Zen Studios have lifted the bar once again. If you didn't know, Farsight lost the license for Williams and it's been picked up by Zen Studios. Now let's go on to the pack. It's Williams Pack 1. If you don't want to look at all these reviews of the tables individually, I did do a summary, so look out for Williams Pack 1. First one is, we'll go through them fairly quickly. First one is a medieval madness, like a castle theme. Lots of different multi-balls on this one. It's different to the PlayStation 3 version I already reviewed of Medieval Madness by Farsight, but all the same things are there. It plays ever so slightly different. The idea is to destroy a castle in the centre, or the top centre of the playfield, by hitting the drawbridge. As I say, a lot of different multi-balls as well. Great speech on this, and it's my favourite of the free pack. The next one is a junkyard, set in a junkyard, and by going up various ramps you must assemble different items by collecting different pieces of junk, essentially. Like you might have to assemble a radar with a toaster and a chicken and stuff like that. Now this table is quite hard. There's a wrecking ball in the middle, like a captured ball. If you hit that quite often the ball would drain, so it takes a bit of skill. This one found it really easy, the PlayStation 3 version. This one's a bit more of a challenge. And the last one in the pack, so it's super value, is the Getaway High Speed 2. Now whether they convert High Speed 1, I'm not sure, it would make sense, but the Getaway High Speed 2 is quite good. It's like a bit Need for Speedish really. You're outrunning the cops, you've got different modes, there's various different video modes that have come up on the side of the table. You can look at the back glass at any time at any of these 3, and as I say, absolutely fantastic. So we looked at 5 pinball tables this time, which is a bit excessive. Generally in this period we look about 2, but you know, it was made possible for me to review the Williams Pack 1 due to a subscriber to the channel, so thank you there. When that happens, I will try and pull out the stops to get that review done. Before I come to the top 6, there are other mentionable ones that didn't quite make it, either because I was disappointed or there's better ones out there. Extreme Racing on the Commodore 1200. Now, this is trying to be Super Mario Kart, and I think probably plays better if you've got an accelerator card in the Amiga 1200, which is commented by a few people on the channel, because I do read those comments. It's interesting to get a bit more extra information about your thoughts on it. And it made me wonder how many people own both an Amiga 1200 then bought an additional graphics accelerator card to make it play a bit better. I thought it was frustrating. The field seemed to leave me behind quite a lot. There were weapons, but they weren't constant weapons. Maybe it's one you have to keep playing and playing and playing, so that didn't quite make it. Turbo Outrun on the Sega Mega Drive was a big disappointment to me. I loved the first game. This one seemed a little bit lazy. The frame rate wasn't quite there. There's another Outrun game that does make the top 6, which again isn't as good as the original, but Turbo Turbo Outrun, they didn't have the fault roads. There's a boost there. Road holding's not as great, but then you can buy upgrades after different levels. It doesn't feel like Outrun to me, apart from the fact that you're driving a Ferrari F40. Battle Squadron, that's a good shooter on the Sega Mega Drive, didn't make it as well. The Amiga version is slightly better, slightly different colour palette, and it plays at a slightly different speed. Still difficult on the Amiga version, but Sega was maybe a little bit too difficult, so that didn't make it either. And another good one, which I didn't include, was a mod actually of Jet Set Willy, originally by Software Projects. This one is by an independent outfit, Jet Set Willy, the Nightmare Edition. Jet Set Willy is already super difficult. Here they put in extra enemies, extra things to trip you up, making it more difficult than it was before, and there's more items. So there we go, they're ones that didn't quite make it. And the official top 6, you're bound to disagree, or you might agree with some of them, or you might agree with all of them, I don't know, but if you don't, then let you put your order below of the 6 we've covered. In number 6, I put ARCHON on the ZX Spectrum by ARIOLOSOFT in 1985. Now this, first of all, was seen quite a basic, frustrating game, a little bit like chess, but it's one of those ones where it pays to keep going and going and learn it essentially. You're on a board about 9 by 9 squares, and it's one fantasy team against another fantasy team, but wizards against a sorceress woman. And what's different here is when you take a piece, it's not just that's that, it's played out actually on a board, so you're attacking each other. So when Battle Chess on the Commodore Amiga, it was a predetermined animation. This one you're actually taking part and destroying the other piece. A few people commented it was one of their favourite games. I think you need to play it for quite a bit to get the most out of it, like a lot of these games. It does have a sequel, so we might have a look at that at some point. So that was ARCHON on the ZX Spectrum from 85. I mentioned this briefly in the games that didn't make the top 6. I hinted it at least. In 5th place I put OUTRUN 2019 on the Sega Mega Drive or Genesis, depending on where you are in the world, published by Sega in 1993. Now, this is supposed to be set in the future, but in time of recording this at least, 2019 is only a year away. When people try to predict the future, you only have to look at Back to the Future Part 2 about this, people tend to think we're far in advance of what we really are. Remember 2015 in Back to the Future, we had flying cars and stuff, and that's pretty much this as well. You got some Batmobile looking car with a massive booster on the back. Fork roads are back on this one, unlike Turbo Outrun, so kudos there. Again, not as good as the original, but I did get some fun out of this one, so it's well worth a look. OUTRUN 2019. Now this is the next one is where a lot of people might not have this in their top 6, but I had quite a bit of fun out of it. I think there must be something wrong with my brain. But anyway, in 4th place I put Family Feud. Yes, Family Feud, a quiz TV tie-in show by GameTek in 1994. Now it recreates the US quiz show that's first started in the 70s. It was called Family Fortunes in the UK, not the game, the actual TV show. And you must to answer. There's essentially a survey. They surveyed 100 people. Name something that's blue or something like that, and you'd say the sea. And how many people said that out of 160? And you have to get all of those people, all of those answers to get the money. If you get 3 wrong answers, it passes over to the other family, and they get one of them, they steal the money. Whoever's the highest after a few rounds, you then do the final. Now I had great fun with this game. As I say, I might have a bit of a warped mind, so have a look at that one if you haven't already. 4th place Family Feud, just for sheer fun value, but there's not much technicality to it. It is a quiz show, and the families on it do look pretty weird. So a recap there: in 6th place you had ARCHON on the ZX Spectrum, published by ARIOLOSOFT in 1985. In 5th place OUTRUN 2019 by Sega in 1993, and in 4th place Family Feud on the Sega Mega Drive, again by GameTek in 1994. So, top 3 time, I'll say it again, top 3 time. Okay, so in 3rd place, a modern day homebrew on the Commodore 64. At last this game has come to that system. It's a Night Law by Rod and Emu in 2018. No, not Rod Hull and that puppet. This game was huge on the ZX Spectrum in 1984, but never had a Commodore 64 port for some reason, but now it has done, finally converted. How's it play? Well, it looks very similar to the original Spectrum version. It slows down on certain bits, but there's options to change that. It does come with a cheat you can activate for certain things as well, which is a nice touch. Just as difficult as the original, and I think it's a fairly good game. you know, it's glad to finally see it. Whether they convert, I think Alien 8 might be in the works as well, but whether they do Atomic Attack also for the Commodore 64, which missed it, that would be fantastic as well. But well worth looking out. If you haven't already, mentioning Night Lord, do look at the PC remake, which I also reviewed quite some time ago. That is absolutely outstanding. In second place, a Commando clone on the ZX Spectrum, it's Who Dares Wins 2 by Alligator Software in 1986. It's a run and gun, heavily influenced by Commando, but whereas Commando does scroll, it's an arcade machine by Capcom converted by Elite in 1985, where Commando scrolls, this one doesn't. It's flip screen, go up about 3 or 4 screens, then you have to destroy a garrison, exactly the same as Commando, and then get to the next stage. The idea is you're trying to rescue your comrades of each point. I did find it slightly easier when I went down the left hand side, but it's a challenge in itself. Who Dares Wins, the original one, didn't come out on the ZX Spectrum, although I do think it came out on the Commodore 64 and the sequel, so sometimes you'll get that not everything that comes out on one 8-bit system is converted to another one. But I found this pretty good fun for what was there. It wasn't good as Commando in my eyes, but probably because I grew up with Commando and there's a lot of nostalgia there. And in first place, top of the shop, I put FIFA International Soccer by EA in 1993 on the Sega Mega Drive. Now this was the very first FIFA game which kicked off the whole series. You can imagine it was pretty successful for them to continue. I don't think they believed it would have been going on still now. In my review of it, it was my first go and I found it quite difficult to score. In fact, I didn't, although I was having most of the ball. But it was England versus Colombia. Maybe I should have been drawn against a worse team first of all. But it's a pretty good game. Up to that point, all that was really available was your top-down games. Sensible Soccer, Kickoff 2. It's not as good as those in my opinion, and sometimes there was a left to right game, but this was the first sort of like 3D game of its sort of like type. And I think if you keep playing it, you will get used to the play and you'll be getting goals galore and having a pretty good time on it. Do have a look at that, FIFA International Soccer. I do think it came out on the Commodore Amiga as well, so we might drop in and have a look at that at some point also. So in third place we put Night Lord by Rod and Emu in Commodore 64 on 2018. Second place, Who Dares Wins 2 by Alligator Software in 1986. And in first place, FIFA International Soccer on the Sega Mega Drive by EA in 1993. So I hope you liked having a look at those reviews. We'll keep that going. There will be some news quite shortly on the job front because I've been doing this channel full time. It's only supposed to be a 1 month thing. They got extended to 3 months. Now it's ended up 5 months. That might be coming to an end soon, but I want to keep it going in some shape or form. Still waiting to hear some news back. My travelling might go up severely again, but you know, we'll see what happens. But I'll keep you in the loop whatever happens. So thank you. Please keep supporting the channel, sharing the videos if you can on social media. That really helps things grow, get the word out there. Until next time, take great care of yourself and a very fond goodbye.
Goodbye.